Hello and welcome back to Heart of the Holte. Today we'll be discussing Aston Villa's pre-season and looking ahead to our first game against Hull City on Monday night. We actually kicked off pre-season relatively early, playing 2 games in one day against Kidderminster Harriets and AFC Telford. Splitting the squads, both squads were filled with a lot of young players from both the under-23 and under-18 squads. A lot of good young lads managed to get a run in this game, which was quite interesting to see actually. In the Telford game, we saw young Harvey Nibbs, who's made a fair few appearances this pre-season, which has been really good to see. A young striker like him, he took his goal very well, and we ended up drawing the Telford game 1-1, and in the Kidderminster game we actually won 3-0 with 2 goals from Jonathan Codger and a goal from Conor Hourihane. I've been a bit of a critic of Conor Hourihane over the past season or so because I've always kind of expected more, and it's good to see that in pre-season he started off well, getting a goal, and he really did set the tone for the rest of his pre-season, which I think he's actually been one of our best performers, and I think he'll really benefit from having this really good pre-season on Monday night against Hull and for the rest of the season, because goals from the midfield, we relied on them heavily last season. As we know, Hourihane did get 11 goals himself last season, which are incredibly impressive statistics. Let's hope that he can get some more this time around. Next up was our game against Walsall, which we did in fact win 4-1. Conor Hourihane got a hat-trick here, as I said earlier. Very good pre-season from him. Took his goals very well, although he did nick the last one off Henry Lansbury. I can't imagine Lansbury being too happy about that. And out of all people to score as well, Glenn Whelan scored an absolutely fantastic goal, knocked it past the player, put it in the far post. It was a really good goal, didn't expect it from Glenn Whelan, and I know when I was there I went absolutely mental. He's got a lot of criticism Whelan has over last season. He's not really the glamorous type of player that we thought that we'd get, really. Whelan does a job, he does it fairly well. I've been impressed with him in pre-season. He's done his job well. He kind of goes a bit quiet. He's almost like a bit of a bulldog. Goes slightly unnoticed. And again, I have given him a bit of unwarranted criticism in the past, but I think he has had a fairly decent pre-season. As well as obviously winning this game at 4-1, seems pretty convincing. Walsall are obviously a League One side. They looked pretty poor in this game. And Villa actually started using a 3 at the back system, which Bruce, he seems to have been inspired by England's semi-final run in the World Cup and adopting the system that former villain Gareth Southgate used for England. We know that Bruce has been a fan of a 3 at the back because he tried to play it, I think last time it was against Ipswich in 2016, which coincidentally was Micah Richards' last game for Aston Villa. It's clear to see that at that time we didn't have the players to make it work. Bruce seems to think that we do now, but I'd have to completely disagree with him. Although it's worked in pre-season, playing Alan Hutton at centre-back is almost the Kyle Walker role, for England, isn't really convincing. I think he is better on the full-back position. Having said that though, Hutton didn't play terribly. James Chester, obviously, the first man you want to see on the team sheet. Absolutely ecstatic that he is staying at the club, because it seemed for certain that he would be going, and it's great to see that Chester is actually wants to stay as well and wants to get the club promoted. I think he's got a massive respect for Steve Bruce. He's obviously worked with him in the past before, and he's put his faith in him this time round. But I think we're actually the squad is short of 1 or 2 centre backs that if you're going to play this 2 at the back we're going to need, because Tommy Elphick didn't feature a lot in pre-season. He kind of came on for 50 minutes here and there, which is extremely surprising because I know he's coming back from an injury and I guess we've got to ease him in, but Elphick and Chester are the only first team centre backs we've got. Young Issa Suleiman has come through and played quite a bit in pre-season. I'm not so sure Issa can do a job, in a very long season in the Championship. It's going to be tough for a young lad like him learning on the job. So I do think we will need 1 or 2 players brought in. As I say, this is the first time we saw this back 3. Not entirely convinced at all, and I really do hope that we don't go with this on Monday against Hull. Next up, we did beat Burton Albion 3-0. Again, in this game we played a back 5. One of my standout performers in this system would be Richie Delat. Obviously we'd loaned him out last season to his old club, I believe it was Antwerp, which I didn't understand. I mean, I know we've got so many right backs and I always bang on about how we have too many, we need to get rid of some, but Richie Delat has been an absolute revelation this pre-season. He obviously scored a fantastic goal coming in on his weak foot as well against Burton in this game, and he's had an absolutely fantastic pre-season. But as I say, with Alan Hutton playing at centre back, we're only really left with Neil Taylor at left back. He's the only natural left back that we have at the club. It's good to see that young Mitch Clark has featured a fair bit in pre-season. I'd like to see him in the first team squad in and around that soon, because I think he's a fantastic player. I keep saying this, but he is an absolutely cracking young prospect, and we are lucky to have someone like him on our books. But I do think we will need another left back, because Taylor didn't have a fantastic pre-season in my opinion. He still looks reluctant to go forward, and as a wing back, that's your job. You've got to be getting them balls in the box, and Neil Taylor hasn't really seemed to do this. Codger and Adoma scored in this game, as well as Gary Gardner and, as I say, Richie Delat. A fairly convincing win. First half wasn't very good. If you're interested in seeing a nice little video that we did from this video, if you just click in the description or at the end annotation, our little montage from Burton Albion will be there for you guys to check out. Next up was a fairly disappointing game. We always knew we were going to struggle against the Premier League side in West Ham. We ended up losing the game 3-1. Again, a game where we played a three at the back because Bruce seems to think that we can. Milo Jedinak did play centre back for a bit. This was the game where we had our players who were out from the World Cup in Jedinak, Almo and Bjarnason all come back in after their extended breaks, which they fully deserved. Andre Green scoring the only goal for Villa, and oh my god, it was an absolute screamer. Andre Green, if this kid can stay fit, he said he's aiming for double figures in the goals. I have no doubt in my mind that he can get at least 10 goals in the Championship if he's fit in a full season. He's going to take this league by storm. He's so quick, very composed, fantastic shot on him, and just you can tell a fantastic football brain. He makes intelligent runs, he can pick passes out. He still seems very raw, but that's going to happen with a young kid like Andre. I think he's only got a year left on his contract, which is absolutely ridiculous. We need to get this kid signed up, because he is going to be a very important part of our team, I reckon, this season. This one hurt as well, because Robert Snodgrass did actually score against us. Great to see Snodgrass again. Nice that he spent a lot of time with the fans, taking pictures and stuff, and got a great reception from the Villa fans. Although I do think we obviously found out with Robert Snodgrass last season on the right, very predictable. I wouldn't mind him coming back, because I think he's something that's great to have around the dressing room. And finally, we won our last pre-season game away to Dynamo Dresden 2-1 after being 1-0 down. 2 goals from Andre Green. So he's got 3 goals in his past 2 games. Fantastic to see that he's fit and sharp. And again, he scored another absolute screamer. As well as scoring this year, he's got variation in his goals. He scored a header, which was assisted by Alan Hutton. And the other one was actually assisted by Glenn Whelan. 2 very unlikely assisters. As I say, it's great to see these guys all performing well in pre-season. Coincidentally, we went back to a 4-1-4-1 for this game, I believe from the second half, and that's when we started to take control of the game, came back into it, scored both of our goals, and we looked most comfortable in this formation, which we did last year. I don't know why Bruce is wasting his time on the 3-5-2 personally, because as I say, don't think we've got the personnel for it. Bruce is clearly demonstrated in the last game. The team performed so much better with the 5 essentially in midfield. This game we actually played with no strikers. Jonathan Codger was injured. He is going to be fit for our game against Hull on Monday, so no need to worry about that. But it's good to see Albert and Andre both can play up top. As I said, Adoma as well, as much as we loved him, did eventually get sought out last season as well, so maybe playing him up front could be a viable option at some point in the season, as we do have a lot of strikers out injured. Overall, results wise, it's a fairly impressive pre-season. Players are looking a lot sharper and fitter than they were this time last year, which is all you can ask for. It's disappointing that we do have the likes of Keenan Davis, Rashawn Hepburn Murphy, Scott Hogan all out injured, because it would have been great to see them in pre-season a bit more, but that wasn't meant to be. Hopefully we get to see these guys soon. Before we go, we'll get the thoughts of one of our bloggers, Jack Cuddworth, on how he thought pre-season was, and he also has written a fantastic article to accompany this video, which will be linked in the description down below. I encourage you guys to check it out.
My name's Jack. I am from Yorkshire. I'm season ticket holder in the Holte, and I write for Heart of the Holte. Looking on pre-season, from the games I've seen, my player of the summer and pre-season, it's a tough one to call, to be honest, but I'm going to have to say Richie Delat. Fighting off injury throughout last year and the season before. He's had a tough spell at Villa, to be honest. Went out to his first club, Royal Antwerp, last season back on loan. I was kind of disappointed he went out on loan he's come back. He's made a good impression. I think he'll be a good right back, especially if we play the 3-5-2 that Steve Bruce has been trying to implement in pre-season. I think he will do very well. He can go forward. He showed it at Burton. It's only Burton, but you've got a player who's in front of you at the end of the day. He had a good game. He can defend. He's proved that at Middlesbrough when he played back then. I think he'll be a good player. A few other good mentions. Andre Green, another one who's been fighting off injury. I had a very tough time in the last couple of years. I think he's come back to fitness this year, and he's really proved himself. Played a little bit of left wing back. I'm not too sure about that, but I think if you stick him on left hand side or right hand side, to be honest, of the wing, I think he's going to impress. He's quick, he's skillful, he's very direct. I honestly think he were a big miss last season, and I look forward to watching him this season if he can stay fit. Edit this one. Young player of pre-season. I don't think anybody's, I'm not going to say stand out, because I think they've all played well. There's not been one clear person, and it's Steve Bruce, so I really doubt, apart from Andre Green, I really doubt any of them are going to make a break in the squad. My personal favourite is Mitchell Clark. Seen the odd bit of him, but I think he could play left back. I think he could play centre back. I know he had a good game in the League Cup or FA Cup, I can't remember which one it was, last season. But I think he's a solid player. He's a little on the small side, but I think he's quick. I think he's got good technique, and from what I've seen of him, he's quite intelligent when he defends. So yeah, I really hope he can break into the squad. But then again, I think Jake Doyle-Hayes, I think he is a good player, and I think he could come good, if not this year, next year. I'm looking forward to watching a bit more Keenan Davis as well. I think the way he holds up the ball is unbelievable, to say how old he is. A couple more goals he needs to build his confidence and to get him that starting place, but I think he can do well. One of my personal favourite players, and somebody who I think doesn't get enough praise, that really should, and I know Dan will agree with me, is Berkey Bjarnason. He came on to, I think it was like last 20 minutes, half an hour against Nottingham Forest away, and he just manned that area. He locked it down, and then he managed to get a little bit of a run. And I thought when we played with him in the team, we were a drastically better team. Played football on the floor, got the ball moving. The good thing about him is he's got energy in copious amounts, and he can track a lot of space in not a very long time. He's I don't like to say he's a poor man's Kante, but he's the kind of disruptor. He can cover area. I think he will be a very important player if Bruce sees some sense and goes down that way. Well, that's my opinion. I wrote an article on our pre-season, just a quick review on our implementation of 3-5-2, some new tactics, emerging players, and in that there is a quick review of the whole game on Monday. You can check it out in the description below, or you can find Heart of the Holte on Twitter. That will be at Heart of the Holte, or it'll no doubt be on my page, which is at Jack Cuddworth.
So there we go, that is the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate the support that we've been getting on the channel recently. We have actually surpassed over 500 subscribers and 20,000 views. We're extremely grateful, and long may it continue. We're hoping to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the season, and it's all possible thanks to you guys. So as we say, extremely grateful. We've got some big things coming to the channel soon, so stay tuned. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, comment your thoughts below on your pre-season, and subscribe for more Aston Villa content. Up the Villa.